Hill coming at you again with another episode of the Tampa Bay Real Producers Podcast, which is the podcast made for real producers, by real producers, and with real producers. And we have today another one of our guests who's actually featured last year as one of the rising stars in the Tampa Bay real estate market. None other than Carrie Juliao. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
I love saying your last name. It's just a lot of fun, right? Juliao. Carrie, like I said, was featured as a rising star last year. So if you check out our website, tampabayrealproducers.com, you can see her article. I think it was in our December issue, if I remember correctly.
December.
And so there was a great spread there on Carrie and what she's built. And then even recently, we'll talk about this in a few minutes, but we also just spotlighted Carrie and her involvement with Feeding Tampa Bay. And in one of our Making a Difference sections as well. So, Carrie, thank you for being here today.
Yes, thank you.
Excited to tell your story a little bit more. So, I guess, why don't we kind of start there, just a little bit with your background, how you got yourself to eventually come to Tampa. Where'd you grow up, and how did you get interested in real estate?
So, I grew up in Alabama, Huntsville, Alabama, very north, almost to the Tennessee line. And I was in healthcare for almost 20 years. So I actually came to Tampa on a travel assignment for healthcare and liked it so much I stayed. But I always wanted my real estate license. I had originally got it back in Alabama in 07, 08.
Okay.
Not good for a newbie. Well, some
Perfect
succeeded.
time to get that license right in the heart
succeeded.
of the...
I couldn't do it, but so I never made the transition. So then when we moved to Florida, I decided to get it. But my first 3 years, I never could make the leap. I couldn't get the courage to make the leap.
You said you were doing it part-time, right? And that was, I think you said you got licensed in 2017.
2017.
So for those first couple of years here in Tampa, you were really just kind of doing some random deals when they would open up. Does that sound about right?
Yeah. Friends from the hospital, whatever. And I just kept telling my husband, if I just had 3 months that I could just focus on real estate, I think I could really make it take off. Mm-hmm. And I broke my ankle. And he's like, well, there's your 3 months. So I did it.
So God had a plan for you, huh?
Right, yeah.
I got to get this girl got to injure her to be able to get her to move forward with this.
Yeah. So he says, well, let's see what you can do with one leg. So I got a knee scooter from my orthopedic.
Nice.
And I scooted around showing houses. I think I showed 14 houses in one day on a knee scooter.
Wow.
And non-weight bearing. So picture it. I had my client, one of my favorite friends and clients still to this day, and her mom, and we were going home shopping for her first home. And I did not want to cancel because her mom was coming in from out of town.
Right.
But I did not want to be a burden either and make them load and unload my scooter for me each time. Mm-hmm. So I hopped back and forth each time, loading and unloading my scooter and hopping to the all day long.
That's impressive. I mean, if you were hopping around for me, I don't know if I would want to sign up for you as my agent just because I felt bad for you or I was entertained. One of them, though, I think you definitely would be my agent regardless, right?
I'm sure that I was entertained. But what's even funny is the client is also a physician assistant at the ortho office that I went to.
Gotcha.
So she knew the rules, like non-weight bearing, And so she was making sure. But obviously, I was in good hands if something happened, but I just didn't want to be the burden. We were, up the stairs. I think on the last house, I finally did not go up the stairs because I was so exhausted.
Yeah.
And that ended up being the one that she bought.
Of course.
So I got to see it later, but yeah, I slipped a few times trying to go up the stairs. No, I'm okay, I'm good. But yeah, it was
so that was right around the pandemic time, you said, right? Like 2020 COVID
it was
year?
Right before, yeah.
Okay.
Right before. And so I did really good in those 3 months. So I went back and I turned in my notice at the hospital and worked out my notice.
Yeah, it's crazy how that one broke your leg, you said?
Yeah, broke my ankle.
Breaking your ankle basically changed your life in some ways, right? So we'll talk about where that's gotten you today. But you think about how we featured you as a rising star, and I think it was over 10 million that year that you guys did over, whatever the number of transactions was. It was your best year when you really dove in full time, right? And when you think about the distinction between what you were doing prior to that, right, on a part-time basis versus what happened when you had that pop year,
Yeah.
I think a lot of, subscribers and listeners would be curious as to, can you pinpoint any specific things that you look back at that really made that pop year happen? Obviously, just committing full-time was probably a big part of it, if not the main thing. But walk through maybe a little bit of that year as to anything you can point to as to that created that pop for you.
It was a sink or swim thing. I told my husband I wanted to go back and turn in my notice, and he was like, he's more of the planner, and I'm more of the just go.
Right.
And he's like, should we wait for these to close first? Nope, I'm doing it. They're pending. I'm going. So for me, it was more of, I have to do this. Yeah. It has to work. If it doesn't, I'm going to be divorced because he is going to be so mad at me. So
that's one way to put the pressure on.
Yeah, it was hard at first because when I first quit the hospital, at the hospital, you start early. So,
right.
And I worked in the OR, so you started really early.
Yep.
And I was so excited to not have the alarm go off at 5 a.m. I was like, nobody's going to tell me what time I have to get up. I'm going to do what I want to do. And that lasted all of about a week. And I said, oh, goodness.
I have to actually go to work.
If I don't work, I don't have PTO. I don't have, I've got to do this.
Yep. Was this your first time really kind of running your own business?
Yes.
Because you said you had over 20 years, right, in the medical space,
yes.
and you were always a W-2 employee, yes. I take it, right?
Yes.
So yeah, that's definitely, it takes a lot of courage just to take that step.
Yes. At 40. I did that at 43.
Yeah. Yeah. That must have been, you must have been afraid of certain things, huh?
Yeah.
That must have been a challenge for you.
Yeah.
How do you think you overcame the fear and just went with it?
I just don't think about it.
Yeah.
I just put it in front of me and then just do it. It's, I'm not, I think part of it is medical field. We're trained that you don't just come with problems.
Yep.
If a problem is presented, your brain auto shifts to solutions.
Yep.
And you just automatically go into solution mode.
Yep.
So it's not really a problem. It's, okay, well, how do you fix it? What do I do? What do I need to do? And I think I've gotten a lot of compliments from realtors in the past when a transaction is going awry.
Right.
And everybody is kind of all freaking out and on the fritz, and I'm just
calm.
And I think that my saying is always, because they always ask me, "Wow, how are you staying so calm? Are you not worried?" I'm like, nobody's bleeding out on the table. Mm-hmm. I can figure this out.
When you've been, were you a nurse those 20 plus years?
I was a surgical assistant,
okay.
So I scrubbed into surgery and assisted the doctors, and
so you saw a lot.
That's stress.
Yeah, I can
that
imagine.
is where stress is, and so everything else doesn't. It's like everything I can figure whatever out,
Yeah, no doubt. I can understand why, if you've seen that, experienced it for over 20 years, the idea of, a couple of issues with real estate transactions, that's not going to stress me out anymore.
Exactly. There's just nothing that you can fix it.
Yeah, of course. That makes sense. So are there when you got this rolling full time, were your connections in the medical space kind of how you got started? Was that the majority of your client base right away, or did you pivot?
Only 3 or 4, not many. Now they've given me repeat business.
Right.
Obviously. So that's been nice. One of my very first sales was one of my friends, and she has referred me so many times, and she just came to me the other day, possibly would want to sell and move, the house that I sold them first.
Yep.
So it's really been repeat business.
Makes sense.
I didn't have any money to really spend to buy leads, I remember I had a great mentor, but I remember asking her one time when I was doing an open house for her, I said, how do you get leads? What do I do? And she's like, I said, what source would you recommend? Because there's so many out there you'll waste money on.
Yep.
And she was like, oh, I don't know, honey. I've been in this so long. I just do referral business. And I said, well, I need to get like that.
Yeah.
And I've not paid for any leads. I've built my business slower probably than most because it's literally just been on connections.
100% referral. Nice.
Connections.
Is that still the case today, or do you also have
is.
other methods now that you're, so it's still all referral for you?
Yeah.
Got you.
Now I'll go out and do some prospecting now because I want listings.
Yeah.
And more, not more than buyers, but, I want listings, and you kind of need a prospect if you want to get a good buildup of those. But
if you had to do it over again, Carrie, is there anything you would point to that, hey, this was a mistake that I made, I probably should have done this different? Anything come to mind that you would have done different?
I took too long getting my systems in place. I didn't set up. People think, oh, I got my real estate license. Yeah, I'm a business owner, and then now here I go. And you don't get the proper systems set up. I know my accountant's not been happy with me for a little bit. She's been trying to get me straightened out.
I don't think most accountants are very happy with most of their clients.
But you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
And you read things, but you don't know. Like, does it pertain to this, or what is the loophole for this, or, so, but I'm in good hands now. So hopefully.
You mentioned you had a mentor. Are you still working with that person, or do you still have anyone like that?
No, I had her for my first 5 transactions.
Gotcha.
And it was the brokerage that I was at before where I am now.
You're with Douglas Elliman now, right?
Right.
Okay.
So I was with EXP.
Yeah.
And I went to EXP because I was looking for a mentor.
Yeah.
Originally, I went to Coldwell Banker.
Okay.
But I couldn't really get any help at Coldwell Banker because everybody was so independent, and they didn't really have a mentor program. And I saw that EXP did, and it was when EXP was new, so they were really big on the mentor thing.
Yeah.
So I got really lucky and got a great mentor that was here in Tampa, top producer, fabulous. And I learned a lot from her. And because of her help in pushing me is the only reason that I did not become that statistic.
Yep.
Because I was here, never lived here, didn't know anyone.
Yep.
No friends and family around. At the time, hadn't really made friends.
Was this during your part-time years, or this was when you committed to the full-time?
It was in the part-time.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I did my part-time stuff with her. But it took off slow, and I was able to learn and, you know, get it down. But
that's one of the things I hear commonly, because when we interview rising stars specifically, I like to try to focus in on what they did to get off to a fast start, right? Because the whole point of being a rising star is they had a pop in their business.
Yeah.
And it's very commonly that it comes up that the mentor relationship has a big part of that. So I think that's a great tip for anybody out there to make sure that you are looking for the right mentors. Obviously, somebody who genuinely is producing, somebody who has some knowledge about the market and genuinely cares, and also that you like, I would have to imagine, that you can have that relationship with. I think that's a big part of it.
Yes, absolutely. It was a big part. So when I was at EXP, I started a little team, and it was focused on, I only had new agents, and I just tried to help new agents to put their systems in place and tell them things that they could do to prospect for free and just different ideas to help them. But we did really good, but it just became to where I was always at home mentoring.
Yep.
And then I was never able to be out selling and things, which is what I wanted to do.
Yep.
So I always had this, I don't know, craving for real estate development. I find real estate development to be just real fascinating.
Cool.
You know, you just look at this pile of dirt, and then it all of a sudden is this
turns
magical,
into something
beautiful
pretty.
place. So I had been eyeballing Douglas Elliman for a long time. Of course, they're really big over on South Florida.
Yeah.
And they're really big with development. And they had opened an office here. And when they did, I went and spoke with the broker,
Is that here in the Tampa office?
The office is in St. Pete.
Okay. Megan was the broker over there, right?
Yeah, she just left.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
Megan's a sweetheart for sure.
Yes.
But that's the office I'm familiar with.
Yes.
Do they have a Tampa location too?
Not yet.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
So I went over there and, she looked at my numbers and said, that my sales had increased year after year, and that's what they like to look for. And so she brought me on. And I actually have opportunities to do a little mentoring there, which is what I like. I've always been a teacher, even in the medical field. I was the preceptor. I was with the person that the new people got put with, because I was nice and I would help them.
Sure.
And I enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. I enjoyed it. I like helping people develop.
And you're working on a development project now, I think you said, right?
Yes. So Douglas Elliman has their first project now. It's in St. Petersburg, 92 luxury townhomes. So I have 92 listings.
Nice. There we go.
Yep.
Are they selling them already?
Yeah, already selling, and it's going really good. I mean, it's exciting, and it's exciting to be a part of the first one.
Mm-hmm. Do you live in St. Pete?
No.
That's a bit of a commute for you then, huh?
It is. Yeah.
Where do you live over here?
In West Chase.
Okay. When we first moved down here, actually from Connecticut, that's where we lived.
Yeah.
For a little while. It's a pretty neighborhood.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a little far, I feel like, takes forever to get to the highway. I feel like.
Depending on the time of day. That veterans could be brutal too, right?
Yes. Yeah. Today it was holiday, so I got lucky.
Right. What about, so now that you've been in it for a couple of years, from your perspective now, Carrie, what do you think is the most rewarding thing about, your experience in real estate that you like the most? Is something resonated with you that you look back and you're saying, I'm now doing this full time. So what's the biggest, would you say, rewarding or beneficial thing that you've gotten from that full-time commitment?
I could sit here and say flexibility or control of my schedule. If I did, I would be lying because you just don't have that. I mean,
it takes work.
You have to set boundaries, which I've learned, which has taken me a little bit, but it does. Like this week, my grandkids decided to pop up unexpected, hey, a few days notice, we're coming to see you, and I was able to clear my schedule and stay with them. And if I were still in the hospital, there's no way that would have happened.
They would have frowned upon taking some time.
They would have frowned upon calling out for a week.
Yes, I can imagine.
Yeah, so there is some flexibility to it if you can make it happen.
But the key is that you're the one providing that structure.
Yes,
that's the big key.
You're in control of it.
Yeah,
and. Then I remember being at dinner one night in Alabama, and I had a client texting me about their new construction home, some things going on. It was like 9:30 at night, and I was answering them back. And my daughter said, "Why are you on your phone? We're at dinner." I was like, "I'm working at 9:30 at night." And my husband has said that to me before, too, when we've been at dinner. He's like, we're at dinner. Yeah. So I have to...
I'd be lying to say I haven't had the same conversation with my wife at times. Yes.
So I've tried to make it a point that, when I am at dinner, I'm at dinner.
Right.
And there is not an emergency in real estate after 5 p.m. that can be addressed. Because everybody is gone, title, lender, whatever. So I'm going to have dinner. Now, after dinner, if I want to answer it, I will. But I have learned that you have to set boundaries.
So that flexibility that you've been able to create, looking back, comparing that to what you used to have to, the schedule you used to work, which I know was long hours in the medical space, would you say that distinction was probably one of the most beneficial things that you got from it? That makes sense.
It's been huge.
Cool.
My husband's a pilot. And so when I was in the medical field, sometimes our schedules would completely be opposite.
Right.
He's already gone 4 or 5 days in a row. So then, goodness, excuse me.
There's some water if you need it.
Oh, yeah, forget my water. So then if he comes home for his 3 days off, and it's my 3/12s that I had to work, we never saw each other.
Gotcha.
So.
That could be tough.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some of the personal side. So you're married to your husband. Is he still a pilot? Yes. Okay. So he's still got those kind of crazy hours occasionally, but at least now you can kind of change your schedule if you want to make sure you guys get that time, right?
Exactly. So I can look at his schedule and look at mine, and I can make my own schedule.
Right.
You know, hey, here's your vacation. Okay, yeah, I can do vacation then. You know,
Perfect.
So I can sync them up together. Whereas before, I had no control of that.
Right. And you said, do you have 2 daughters?
One.
You have one daughter who's in her 20s, you said, late 20s.
27, yeah.
And she has a couple grandbabies,
Yeah,
right?
2 grandbabies.
You just had a couple, your grandbabies came to visit, it sounded like this week, so that must have been a fun week.
Yeah.
Would you guys do anything that was special?
Oh, you know, all the tourist stuff.
Yeah, go to the beaches, Busch Gardens.
Yeah. We went to the aquarium.
All that good stuff.
We went over to Sparkman Wharf.
What do you guys like to do for fun in general? Anything that you're passionate about?
I like to just be outside. I love to be near the water.
Mm-hmm.
My husband grew up in New York, so he really doesn't like the heat as much, but I love it.
The water keeps him cool a little bit. You got the breeze. I'm a Connecticut guy, so I can probably relate to your husband in some ways.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Feel the breeze. But, we just like to be outside, you know, and I like to say, oh yeah, we love to travel. We do love to travel and go places, but
you have a favorite place to visit?
Not really. I mean, we haven't traveled a whole lot because my husband's on the airplane all the time.
Right.
So the last thing he wants to do is to come home and get on an airplane to go somewhere.
Yeah.
We love cruises.
Who doesn't?
Yeah. He does love that, especially because we can drive to a port.
Sure.
He doesn't have to get on an airplane.
Yep.
So
we just came back with my family actually from California, and I was thinking about the pilot's lifestyle in a way because we had to take a red eye back, and we left California at like 11 o'clock at night, landed here in Tampa, and it was just a weird with the kids. So that was a whole experience too. But you know, when we get here, it's 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And you know, just that like pilot lifestyle and that schedule, I don't know if I would enjoy that personally. It seems like they get paid well, and I know that, you know, they obviously love to fly, but they definitely put in some challenging hours sometimes.
It's hard. It's really hard. As you say that about the red eye, it's funny. My husband has a red eye tomorrow night from Lima, Peru.
Wow.
Back to Miami.
Does he generally get time to kind of see the world though when he does these trips and be able to pop in at least for a day or so and visit?
He's 53. He's been doing this his entire life. Yeah. So he's been all over the world.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes, he gets out and enjoys the layovers. And
I'm sure he has a lot of frequent flyer miles, huh?
Sometimes he just wants to get to his hotel room and just stay there until it's time for the crew bus. I
can imagine that too, just to crash.
Yeah.
So you don't have a favorite place that you guys have visited, huh?
I mean, our favorite place is going on cruises, wherever.
Makes sense.
Yeah. We like to go see different places on a cruise, and that's pretty much.
Do you get to go back home to Alabama any regularly? Does most of your family still up there?
They would love it if I would go more.
So they are still up there, it sounds like.
Yeah, they're all up there. My best friend since elementary school, high school, they're all there.
Gotcha.
They come visit.
Got you.
They come visit.
This is with the holiday weekend. Are they going to be in town, or you guys traveling at all?
No.
Okay.
No. Everybody left today. I dropped them off at the airport this morning.
Now it's back to normal, huh?
Yeah. Now.
So I wanted to make sure we brought this up too. Every month, if you're not familiar with our platform, we feature a Making a Difference section. And we actually featured you in our recent issue talking about your relationship with Feeding Tampa Bay.
Thank you.
So how did that start? Why is that something that's important to you? And what type of involvement do you have over there?
So the last year I've been working on my new development, and I haven't been as great about it. My food drives have been a lot smaller, but how I farm neighborhoods is to do food drives. Mm-hmm. And I just try to go and I find a neighborhood that I love, and I just try to get to know people. Mm-hmm. But I want to do something good to come out of it. So I started to do food drives to help Feeding Tampa Bay. So then after I do the food drive, I go in and take all the food there and donate it to them. The reason that I chose that, because that's something that I'm passionate about, is growing up, we owned a restaurant, my
Okay.
family, and my grandmother was in charge of everything. And she said, "Oh, guess what, guys?" Because it was really family ran. My cousins, like, we grew up there.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh, guess what, guys? We're going to open on Christmas." And me and my cousins, we were 12, 13 years old. We're like, work on Christmas?
Right. I don't know if I'm in for this idea.
I don't know about this. And, we worked on Christmas. We opened for breakfast. There was no charge. It was just donation only. But we cooked this huge meal of hundreds and hundreds of a traditional Alabama Christmas meal.
Yeah, I can smell it now.
And we packaged them all up, and people came and volunteered and delivered those meals off to homeless people.
That's awesome.
We would go out into the community where they camped, and we would deliver meals. And we did this until I was 21, 22 years old.
Wow.
My grandmother passed away.
Sounds like a great woman.
Yes, but she instilled that servant's heart in us. So that's where it comes from.
That's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
I think, not only is it, a great thing to do,
Yeah.
just because you are being able to give back and, God knows there's a lot of people throughout the Tampa Bay area that benefit, immensely just from a warm meal.
Yeah.
We just take for granted the fact that we have
Yeah.
that so many times, but it's also a great business strategy, I think, too, because of what you said in farming a lot of the neighborhoods. I have to imagine that the relationships and the presence that allows you to have when you're working in some of these communities, I have to think that would be beneficial from a business side as well.
It is. It's I feel I'm not a person. I don't cold call.
Yeah.
I don't door knock. I can't do it. My stomach knots up. I don't like it. So I had to find something that I like to do.
Yeah.
And these are the kind of things that I like to do. So I just go and I pull my wagon around and collect. I was shocked the first one I did. It was amazing. I made my husband go with me to drive to pick everything up. And when we turned into the neighborhood, and you can see all my bags filled and lined on the porches, and my husband was like, wow.
That's cool. Yeah.
So it was a good feeling.
Is it like a once a year thing?
Well, I try to do it every quarter. So I'm getting back into, I actually just ordered my bags for my first one for this year.
Okay.
So I'm a little late getting it done. I want to do it in March, but it's going to be in April. But that's fine. I don't know. I think that there's just too big of a world to not be,
No doubt.
to be nice, to meet people. People do business with people they like, know, and trust.
Yep,
So
amen.
this is a relationship business, and you got to build the relationship, and then the business will follow. And that's just an extra perk of it, because
If you can do something to help people at the same time, why not, right?
As a pilot wife, I find myself home alone a lot on holidays and things like that. And I found myself that way this Christmas, and then I couldn't fly home because the flights were just terrible with everything that was going on. So I woke up on Christmas morning and I said, I'm going to just go volunteer somewhere. And I could not find anywhere to go. Or this was Christmas Eve. So I said, well, I'll just go do what I know to do. So I went to Publix, to the little meal bar. I made 50 plates, and then I drove around Tampa and passed them out.
That's awesome.
But it's good. The smile on people's faces.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. They
Absolutely.
were so happy.
It makes you feel good too when
It
you know that you're
does.
helping people and doing something that
It does.
it doesn't. A lot of people, if they've never taken the opportunity to just serve, right, in some way,
Right.
whether
Yeah.
that's through your church or through a local charity or through some sort of an
Something.
organization,
Yeah.
recommend anybody, do what Carrie's talking about and just serve at least once a year. Like spend a day, spend some time, because
Yeah.
it really people helping people. That's what's needed.
I tell my mentees that all the time. This can't be all about you.
Right.
This isn't about your next sale and when are you going to, this is about what are you going to do? What are you doing for people? Find something that you're passionate about and go do that. If it's animal shelter, if it's raising food for animal shelters or whatever, whatever it is.
Yeah, and it's great if you can tie that into your business.
Tie it into your business.
You know, because then your business has a bigger purpose to it.
Right.
And I think there's a lot of value in that as well. What's something you're really excited about for the rest of this year? I know we already talked a little bit about the project that you're working on.
Yeah.
Would that be that thing, or is there anything else?
Yeah. We're very excited about the project.
Yeah.
Obviously. It's very great. But, that is huge. Watching them start to go up is going to be phenomenal feeling. So,
when's it supposed to be completed?
Completion 2025.
Okay.
Yeah, we're operating in 4 phases.
So it'll be exciting couple of year cycle here now,
yes, yeah. Yeah, we're in 4 phases, so we'll have homeowners moving in before that.
Yep.
But yeah, it should be all done.
And it's right downtown?
It's not downtown. It's actually in a great location to enjoy both sides of the bay because it's about 12 minutes from downtown St. Pete and then about 15 minutes from South Tampa.
Gotcha.
So it's on 4th and 87th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep, I know exactly where that is. I used to have a franchise for Snell Isle. Out there. So I did a lot of work in that Snell Isle community and especially even downtown as well. So I was up and down that 4th Street for many years.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so I know it well. Isn't Kaya Costa up in that area, one of those neighborhoods? Are you familiar with that neighborhood at all?
No.
Okay. There's a gated kind of an upscale community. I believe it's called Kaya Costa, right up in that 4th Street 80-something range.
Okay.
Kind of like off of 4th Street, but back private. Yeah.
Yeah. Until this project, I had not really been over to St. Pete very much. So it's been, thankfully, our director of sales, she's born and raised 3 or 4 generations St. Pete person, so she knows it in and out.
Yep.
So she's been able to help me a lot, but it's been a new market that I've actually been learning along with the development. So
yeah, I was going to ask you,
exciting.
like with like the Feeding Tampa Bay things and everything we talked a little bit about, like in terms of farming neighborhoods, is most of that in the West Chase area for you, or is it in St. Pete now? So it is West Chase still.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
All my resale pretty much is still over here.
Gotcha.
I haven't been able to focus as much on it the last year and a half, but that's fine. It's just because I've been learning something new.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
A couple of rapid fire questions that we always ask just to get a couple of things out there about you that people know a little bit more about you.
Yeah.
And then we'll wrap up here with what I call our legacy question, right?
Goodness.
Which I think is a real stumper sometimes. So what's your favorite book or author, or maybe it's a seminar, anything that you feel like maybe has made an impact on you personally or on your business even? Does anything come to mind?
2 books. I read Atomic Habits.
Love that book.
When I was really trying to find myself in this business as far, what the heck am I supposed to be doing, and creating habits, because I really didn't have anything set.
Yep.
So I read that in the beginning, and that was really helpful. The next book that probably comes to mind that I had gifted to me from one of my colleagues that has been in development for a really long time, and he says that he sees that I'm really passionate about development, and he thought this book would help me, and it was Follow Up and Close the Sale.
Oh, cool. I have not read that.
And
is it specifically for real estate?
I mean, I interpret it that way,
right.
But I guess
it's for any sales business.
Any kind of sales, you could probably utilize some of
Follow
his.
up and close the sale, huh?
Yeah.
I like it. God knows the fortune is in the follow-up, right, Carrie?
Yes, it is. My gosh, the follow-up is so important. And that's another thing that I tell my mentees. They're like, well, I followed up a couple times. I'm like, no, you're going to have to follow up like 40 times.
Yeah. They say that the average person follows up a couple times, like if they follow up at all. But, it really is the people. That's how I believe you distinguish yourself as a professional in your industry, is to really have a solid follow-up program in place.
Yes.
Yep. I couldn't agree more.
I mean, I've followed someone probably up with them close to a year,
Okay.
Just follow up.
Yeah,
And
just staying in touch.
finally they bought from me. And they made the remark one time, you're just so consistent. It's like clockwork. Every month. Hey.
That's powerful. There's a old marketing adage that I was taught years ago. Have you heard of the A to Z scale before? Does that ring a bell?
It does.
Where
yeah.
every single, no matter what the product or service is, right? Take real estate in this example. Every single one of us is on the scale somewhere, right? From A to Z.
Right.
A is you're the coldest lead possible, right? You just bought a home yesterday. And Z is want to buy a house yesterday,
ready.
right?
Yeah.
Like I'm looking actively to buy. But most of us are obviously somewhere in between, right? And the whole point of any sort of follow-up system is so that if you know who your target market is, all you can really do is be in front of that audience. Because the thing you don't control is the timing.
Right.
You should know as a business owner who your target market is, though, right? And as long as you're in front of them with some sort of medium that is at least visible, right, in some way, and there's so many different ones you can do that with, the timing will work itself out, and you're really just having to be timing them when they're in that closer to the Z side.
Exactly.
And that just only happens with that relationship. Most people never invest the energy to help, nurture that.
Build
from
the
B to
pipeline.
Z.
Yes.
And that really is the secret, I think, in how you're successful in this business, especially, and really sales in general. So I'm glad you were able to bring that up. I think that's a great tip for anybody who's out there and trying to get that quick success. It just doesn't work that way. Yeah.
It's one of those things. When someone first, makes a request or whatever, you have to get them right then because they're kind of up here. They're high. They're ready.
Yeah.
And then the more that you wait, they just go down, and then they're like, I don't know.
Yep.
So you got to strike while it's hot.
Strike while the iron's hot, right?
That's right.
Carrie Juliao. Tip from Carrie. Favorite app on your phone or like a software or something maybe that you use? Anything come to mind?
Favorite app? Oh my gosh. None of them. I'm so tired.
It's all
of
a
the
waste
phone.
of time, huh?
I'm so tired of the phone. I don't know that I really have a favorite app.
No worries. Sometimes there's like a productivity hack or something that people love to hear about. So
No.
I'll throw that out there.
Does shopping apps count?
Of course. Yeah, you could throw any app you want. Personal, anything, I've been starting to use one that has like these 4-minute workouts, which has been kind of a quick thing where it's boom, you just press a button and it walks you through a 4-minute workout. I need to work out more than 4 minutes, as you can tell, but at least it gives you some consistency.
4 minutes is 4 minutes. I can do 4 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
So, okay, I just thought of one because I started to do these partnerships on my Instagram with a few products.
Okay.
And they always want you to shoot these videos to talk about their product.
Yep.
And I hate filler words. I hate, I don't want to say them, all these. So I would type or say what I wanted to say about the product, and it generates this pretty script for you. And then it just scrolls up the screen so you can read it as you video.
Oh, that's cool.
It's called Big View.
Big View.
Yeah, VUU.
It's basically like a teleprompter. Yeah.
But it also does a little AI stuff there because it takes my southernisms and puts them into this pretty little paragraph.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So do you have a pretty engaging Instagram presence and account as far as like followers? How did you build those relationships with people that wanted you to promote their products?
It took a while. And I haven't.
Is this like your personal one or business?
No, it's my Selling Sunset Tampa one.
Gotcha.
It took a while. The posting every day just wears you out.
Yeah.
Right. And even though, I want to grow and this and that, I just don't want people up in my personal business.
Sure.
I don't want you to know what I'm doing all day, every day. So I don't, everybody says, oh, you got to have a story all the time. Do this and shoot. And I just don't want to do all that.
Right.
So I've tried and I've got it kind of to where it's, presentable. But
Well, you must have been doing something right in order to have these companies reaching out to you about wanting to promote their products, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a couple. So I think one was that the Moment brand.
Okay.
And it's maybe they saw I was drinking too much wine. I don't know. Because it's all about, drink this. It looks like wine. It tastes like wine, but it's not wine. And then the other was Pet Joy supplements for my dog. So I think maybe I posted my dog a lot. So like, oh, hey, she's an animal lover.
Makes sense.
So those two so far.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to follow you on Instagram now, Carrie. I didn't know you had that flowing over there.
Yeah.
So I know we talked a little bit about how really referrals has been your bag, right? That's how you've built your business. But I'm assuming even social media and some of that has played some role based on what you're saying.
Honestly, I've never gotten a lead from social media.
Got it. So it's just you living out loud, huh?
Yeah, I hear realtors say that they kill it. All my leads come from social media, and I'm
their
sure
whole
that they
business.
do. Yeah. But I've never had a single person reach out to me and say, "Oh, hey, I want to talk to you about
real estate." Yeah,
real estate or buying and selling my house or nothing like that. I mean, if I have, it's people that I already knew.
Gotcha.
Like one of my old buddies from the hospital, I'd posted something and then she sent me a message and said, "Hey, I've been meaning to call you. I saw your post." And she wanted to buy a house. So
that's usually how it works,
but
right?
Not organic.
Not strangers that are just following you. Makes sense. Favorite food?
I mean, do I got to pick one?
As a Southern belle in Alabama, I'm sure you have a couple of different ones. Huh?
I like all kinds of food. I love my food back home. Every time I go back home, my daughter, my best friend, they all know I've got certain stops I have to make. But I love all kinds of food.
Mama knows what that is, I guess, huh?
Yeah.
When you're ready to pop in.
Yeah.
Favorite movie?
Stepmom. It's always been one of my favorite
That's a funny one.
movies. Yeah.
I've seen like bits and pieces of it. I don't think I've actually seen the whole thing, but what I saw of the clips where it was funny.
Yeah.
What's the name of the main?
Julia Roberts.
But isn't there, what's
Susan
the other?
Sarandon.
Maybe I'm thinking of the wrong movie then. What's the woman's name? She's a heavyset woman, but she's hilarious. You know what I'm talking
Melissa.
about? Yeah. Isn't she in that?
No.
She's not.
This is an old movie.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so I'm totally thinking of a different movie then.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought it was called Stepmoms, though, where it was a couple of the women from like Saturday Night Live, and Melissa was in it. And I could have sworn it was Stepmom. Maybe it's something else, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Stepmom is a favorite, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's an old favorite. And Clueless.
Oh, that's a classic.
It's a classic.
I had a big crush on Alicia Silverstone. So.
Oh, well, there you go. I think my husband probably did too.
I think most guys my age did at those times. All right, we're going to end with this. So, we all, as you said earlier, I think when you're working in the medical field and you're seeing life and death in front of you, sometimes that gives you a proper perspective as to like how real estate isn't necessarily life and death with the challenges and things. But at the end of the day, like we're all going to pass one day, right? And have a legacy that hopefully our time here means something and we're building something that matters. When you think about, Carrie, what you'd want your legacy to be, what are some thoughts that come to mind that matter to you that you'd want to be remembered for?
I just want to be remembered for being kind. Mm-hmm. There's so many mean people in the world.
There is, unfortunately.
Just, nasty, And I just don't, I hate seeing people be bullied. I don't like seeing people be talked down to. So for me, I just want to be known to be that person that maybe when you were at a hard time in your life, I made you feel good or have a good day.
You got that Southern gal heart right there. That's what it is. And your grandma seems like installed that in servant's heart in you as well.
Oh, yeah. Can't be mean or she'll
make sure that she does something, huh?
She'll make her presence known.
You don't want Big Mama on you for sure. Well, Carrie, this has been fun. I appreciate you carving out some time to be able to join us here today and telling your story a little bit more. I think as a rising star, it's those first couple of years for a lot of people in real estate is tough. And, you making that decision to go from the part-time to the full-time and then seeing a result from it, is inspiring to see what's possible when someone really just dives in and commits which is what you said you did.
Yes.
To be able to get to that next level. So I wish you all the best for the rest of this year with the new project, of course,
Yes,
in St.
thank
Pete.
you.
Hopefully we'll see you at a bunch of our events
Yes.
coming up as well. We'll continue to do those throughout the rest of this year. And you guys can subscribe at our YouTube channel, Tampa Bay Real Producers. Just search us on YouTube. You can also find that through our website, like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, all of those different places. So
Yes.
guys, check it out. We'll see you later.
Thank you.